So Pamela, your new show, Better Things, premiered on FX last year to great critical acclaim and strong audience responses. You're currently working on season 2. Tell us a little bit about where the idea for the show came from.
Well, I wanted to do something that was more fictional, and then I ended up, writing kind of my own story and making it a story about a woman raising 3 girls in LA who's also an actor and has an English mom. So it's kind of my story, but I'm able to, splinter off into different directions from there.
Well, one of the great things about the show is that, the stories that it deals with, for the most part, they're very small, intimate, human stories. So I wonder where, as you're coming up with ideas for episodes, where you draw upon.
I'm able to tell stories that were my stories from my childhood through my TV daughters, and also stories from my friends' childhood through those characters as well. And and this season it's because it was fleshed out in season 1, I can explore the different friend characters and people in her life, and kind of dig deeper.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell us a little bit about Sam, I guess based off of Pam. How much of it is taken from your real life and how much of it is imagined or characterization?
Well, I've been collecting kind of thoughts and memories and all of those kinds of things for years. So, I suppose a lot of people, we go through our lives and say, oh God, I got to remember when that terrible thing happened to me at the gynecologist or whatever, and write it down. Someday I'll write a book. So I'm just able to kind of put an amalgamation of all these things into my show. And it's the real life stuff becomes the great detail for me when I'm telling the story of Sam.
Mm-hmm. And within the first season, can you talk a bit about how you and working with, you wrote most of them with Louis C.K., who you have a great partnership with. Talk about how you guys developed that first season and how it grew and changed into what you guys are doing now in season 2.
Well, in the first season, I started out writing I would write scenes, and then, I would just wake up and say, okay, today we're going to go to the plastic surgeon, and what character would go with me, and what's the conversation that happens. And then I would put myself, with Duke at her school on the playground, and my daughter, my middle daughter, Frankie, she gets sick and can't go to soccer. So I still have to go because I have snack. And so I just kept writing different scenes and sequences and then cobbled them together. And then we would take an idea or a story, and it would become a whole script and kind of a more linear thing. And Louis able to take my fragments with me, and he was able to help me shape what became my show.
Mm-hmm. And finding comedy in these little human moments, or you deal with some very serious story issues as well. Can you talk about finding the humor in that?
Yeah, it's when people say to me, your show is so funny, I always go, oh my God, but we're crying at the end of every scene. I can't. And sometimes I try to remind myself, we're making a comedy. Isn't this supposed to be a comedy? But life is funny, and that's, to me, if you can laugh at the pain and kind of see, you know, where the humor is in the dark moments. That's something that I really respond to, and I really love to put into my work.
Well, one of the great things about the show, I mean, as you sort of touched on before, is that it's not like a sitcom where there's constant joke, 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 joke. There, you know, there are stretches for a minute or two where you're just sort of involved in the characters and the story, and the humor comes out of that. So, I mean, you do a good job of balancing, you know, harsher moments with lighter moments. Can you talk a bit about that balance?
Well, I try to just go as far as I can into like the weird moments that kind of lay there like a fart. And it's like, you know, when I have actors come in to do my show, you know, we as actors always want to go for like a button or some moment that makes it be a little bit lighter. And I always tell the actors who come and, you know, whatever they're playing, I say, it's okay, just let it breathe. Let there be an uncomfortable moment, because that enhances it so much. So it's being able to sit in the kind of weirdness, and then it pays off in terms of the comedy, I hope.
It does. You mentioned you're welcome. You mentioned your daughters, and they're such three distinct young women and distinct characters. Can you talk a bit about where you found them and working with the three of them as both actor and director and writer?
Well, my casting director, Felicia Fasano, who's one of my best friends, she and I started looking, and she got like 2,000 submissions. So I guess people really want their kids to act or something.
They do.
You know, and a lot of kids tape themselves from their kitchens like all over the country. And we just had to find something very unique about each girl so she could fill each role in a way that would blend with me and each other. And so, you know, it's amazing because we did the pilot 2 years ago, and I'm seeing how these girls are changing and growing developmentally. And they're just all incredible, and they add so much depth, and they inspire me, you know, the girls that I have.
Well, it's interesting watching the generational drama of you and your daughters, and you know, the different ways in which the three of them deal with becoming a modern woman. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
Frankie in particular, I mean, you play around with gender identity a lot. Could you talk a bit about that?
You know, it's amazing because those things are all so there, and I discover them while I'm making my show, you know, because it's me, my daughters, and then my mom. So we have the three generations. And so they see me being mean to my mom, and they're mean to me. And it's just this kind of thing that just keeps this horrible pattern of mothers and daughters. And, you know, in terms of Frankie, you know, she's a kid like any other who's questioning and discovering and thinking big, giant thoughts without being able to articulate them, which is the way life is.
Mm-hmm. One of the other aspects of your character that's so interesting is Sam is not quite in her career where she would like to be. It's funny, but also kind of, I don't want to say sad, but you know what I mean, to watch her go from job to job to job.
Yeah.
And just, can you talk a bit about, I mean, did you draw on any of your past experiences?
Oh my God. Yes. Yes, of course. You know, I've always felt like I was kind of like fringy, like on the fringe of things, and, you know, like at the door of the party, but never quite inside the party. So it's that perspective that I'm giving. You know, I never imagined that I'd be telling a whole show story that I would be the protagonist of. So it's fun to be able to kind of feel like the underdog, who is, you know, making friends with other underdogs, and that kind of perspective, and just, you know, taking opportunities when you get them, and being able to just say, oh, look at this ridiculous thing that happened, and it becomes good fodder for my show.
I remember I was particularly amused by, I think it was in the first episode, you're doing the voiceover for the cartoon. It brought back memories of King of the Hill for me. So
Yeah.
This season, you directed some episodes in the first season. Season 2, it's coming up. You've directed all of them. Can you talk a bit about taking that kind of creative control of your show, and directing all 10 episodes? What has that experience been like for you?
Well, you know, a lot of people have said to me, how do you do it? Isn't this so hard? And I just say, no, it's easier because things are flowing through me, and everybody gets an answer when they come to me. And also, people like it when you know what you want and what you have to accomplish. And, you know, in the execution is where all my crew helps me, and my actors. And, you know, for me, it's kind of a natural thing because, you know, I'm a single mom, been raising 3 girls by myself for so long. And this is easier because these people listen to me. So.
Was it always the goal for you to direct eventually? Was that always the plan for you?
I didn't have that ambition or think that that's where I was going to end up, but it just worked out that way. And it's easier, and I'm learning massive amounts all the time, every day. And I'm completely humbled by my crew and my actors, and it's a very collaborative process, and it's just been incredible, and I love doing it. It's an ability that I have now that I never knew that I would ever be able to do.
Well, it's also sort of indicative of the ways in which television is going these days, with a more auteur-driven, shall we say, to call you an auteur, like what Louis did with his show, and what so many others are doing with their shows. Having the support of a network like FX, how does that help out?
Oh, God. Well, they are just, you know, the trust that they put in me is massive, and it's not lost on me. It's a huge responsibility to be making all this television, and to know that I have to execute it extremely, like, beyond good. It's got to be different, special, and unique. And they are just completely hands-on when I want them to be, and hands-off when I need them to be.
From this first season, what were some of the, I guess, highlights for you in terms of episodes or moments where you thought that you really pulled something off that was quite special?
Almost every day.
Well, that's good.
Almost every day. I wish I could tell you specific things, but I don't want to ruin anything.
Right. Yeah. I'm sure it's also kind of, you've been immersed in season 2 all this time, so you must.
Yeah, we're still shooting. I have 4 more days.
Wow. Yeah. I wanted to ask you about your Emmy win for King of the Hill, and since I'm a fan of that show, what did that kind of recognition mean for you? And looking back on that show, which is still very beloved by so many people. To have been a part of something like that, how does that feel for you?
Oh God, I mean, King of the Hill is like, I still say it's like the best job I ever had. And when I won an Emmy for it, I was in deep shock because I didn't know that it was for my performance. I thought it was just the show. So it meant everything to me. And we did 13 seasons, and I learned so much about writing and the way I want to make television from being on King of the Hill for all that time. It's just, it's the most extraordinary thing. And I love looking back. I love the show, and it's an amazing thing to be part of, to have been a part of.
And to have, created a character like Bobby Hill. I mean, it's obviously part animation, but also your performance was such a big part of what made that character so endearing. What does that mean for you?
It's an amazing gift. I still pinch myself. I look at Instagram has a hashtag Bobby Hill tattoo thing, and I'm always looking at it going, oh my God, what are you doing to your body? Please don't. It's amazing. The weirdest part is that if I see a picture of Bobby Hill, I think I'm looking at a picture of myself.
Wow. Really? That is really fascinating.
Yes.
Well, Pamela, thank you so much, and congratulations on Better Things. I really look forward to seeing season 2, and thank you so much for your time. Thank
you so much, Zach. Thank you for teaching me how to use the internet.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for being so patient.
Yeah.
See you.